us.
Yeah, Prof. Let's start with you. What are your thoughts on the macroeconomic policies of the Central Bank of Nigeria? Of course, we've heard from some FX dealers and those who are also customers in this report that there have been some demand, pressure rather, on the Naira because of the high and increased demand. We've had policies, for instance, moving the exchange rate dispensation from where it was before to the importers and exporters window that happened either last year or the year before that, and several other policies by the Central Bank of Nigeria, led by Gordon Emefiele. What are your thoughts? Do you think he's gotten it wrong, and that's why we're where we are today?
No, not at all. The central bank is doing the best that it could under the current circumstances. But let me explain that the current pressure, just in the last few days, are actually coming from United States that have revalued their dollar. The dollar has gone up in value by about 12.5%. And that, just imagine, dollar and euro are just at parity right now. It used to be 20% differential. And also pounds are coming. So it's almost every currency that has to dollar or denominated in dollar or it's all affected. Now, added to that is the very high speculation in our economy. And then you see, when you have speculation in your economy, the speculation is to the extent that they think that the Naira is going to be devalued, it's going to be devalued. So what we have are people who borrow money, get all every money that they have to purchase dollar. So can you imagine if you expect that by the end of next month, the Naira will drop to about 800 to $1. So they will just buy the dollar and hold it. End of next month, they will sell. And they will make 15% to 20% just by doing nothing. So that pressure is there. And thirdly, this is summer. People are frantically looking for money to travel abroad for all kinds of things, for medical treatment, for leisure, for holiday. And then also children's school fees are coming. People are also looking for dollar early for settling the school fees of their children abroad. And we have them in hundreds of thousands abroad. And then you have the politicians that are looking for dollar to settle their political stuff. And that is we already know that. That's been playing out in the last 6 months. Then you also have the demand, the spurious demand for dollar to import from China and all other places. And look at the trade balance between Nigeria and China. It's over 2 trillion. That is alarming, that people are importing all frivolous items because that's the only way they can make money under current circumstances, in their view. So they bring everything they can, and then they pass through, inflation pass through to the consumers. And you're going to have to find a way of taming this appetite. CBN tried by delisting 41 items, but it didn't ban the import of these items. They just said that I haven't got a foreign exchange to give you. But these guys are still active in the market, sourcing money. And there's also dollarization of our economy. If there are some places you will go, you see price is quoted in dollar. And when you ask them, they say, well, this is the only way I can sell it so that I can buy the thing because I'm not sure about the value next month, next week. So you have all these cumulative effects. Now, let me put it the other way. There are, Forex is a pricing mechanism. Forex, interest rate, monetary policy rate, inflation, they're all prices. And when you come to price, demand and supply for the item plays, because you try to find where you resolve demand and supply, where are they likely to meet. In the case of Nigerian dollar and Naira, we don't have any meeting point right now. What it is that about 80% of our forex tends to come from crude oil sales. And CBN has been waiting for this money throughout last year. But about $3 billion would have been going from NNPC to CBN every month. They haven't seen it. Not last year, this year, they haven't seen anything. And that's why you saw the JP Morgan clamping down on Nigeria and all of that. So what is done is that NNPC is doing a direct crude swap with refiners abroad, sending them the crude and then receiving the PMS in return. And then when they do the arithmetic, they said, oh, wait a minute, that the price of the revenue, what the potential revenue from the export of the crude is far outweighed by the cost of transportation, refining, and bringing it back to Nigeria.
Just a quick one from you, Prof. Do you think that the current exchange rate direction of the central bank, or let's say the Monetary Policy Committee, at the last meeting moved it from 13% to 14%? Do you think that they're getting it right with these tweaks, the way they're going about it with the monetary policy rate or the exchange rate? Very shortly, please, sir.
No, do nothing is not an option. The increasing it is in line with best international practice right now, and it's the right thing to do for them. But the CBN is focusing on generating more foreign non-oil revenue with the RT $200 billion revenue drive, which over the next 3 years could solve this kind of problem, and people will stop looking for dollar in the way we're looking for it. So there is a demand side and a supply side action from the authority. But it seems unfair that everybody just thinks that CBN should solve every problem in the economy. And we are glad that it's doing the best that it could, but there are also fiscal aspects that could also augment. If you use instruments, what we call levy instruments, to increase the effect on those 31 items, or even extend them, you bring more pressure on those who are importing to pay more tax.
Okay, all right,
and suppress demand.